Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I am up in the Boise Foothills. In fact, I am just above Boise. I've got the DJI Air 3 with me today, and it's a nice, sunny, little bit breezy day, probably in the low 70s, something like that. Anyway, we're going to take a look around here. I got something interesting that I'm going to show you. There was a subdivision here, up here in the foothills, that in 2016 started to slide down the hill, and so they had to everybody that owned a home there had to evacuate. We'll talk a little bit more about it when I get the drone up in the air, but I just wanted to let you know what I was doing. This is in Class C airspace, so I did have to get a Lance authorization in order to fly here. But that was easy enough to do. Interestingly enough, I just did a little test takeoff and landing with the drone. DJI did not ask me for any authorization, so it's just weird how sometimes DJI wants you to get authorization and when they don't, and it, you know, to take off with your DJI drone, in other words, a geo-lock. But in this case, there was none, but we are perfectly legal. We've got Lance authorization, and we're squawking remote ID. So in any case, let's quit messing around. Let's get this drone in the air, and I'll take a look and just kind of show you what we're looking at here. Okay, let's take a quick look at the safety menu before we take off here. We are in bypass mode, normal bypass option. Radar map is on. Radar is the notification when you're next to an obstacle. It'll on the screen, you'll see it. Return to home altitude we have set at 35 meters, which is plenty. I think where we're at here, I'm not going to go too far into the foothills. Max altitude 120 meters, of course. And by the way, our Lance approval is for 400 feet, so that's under 400 feet. Compass is normal, IMU is normal, and battery's looking good, so no reason that we can't take off. Let's shoot in, let's get the best of the best here. 60 frames per second. Let's start recording. Let's do an automated takeoff on the app.
Takeoff.
And we're getting that warning that we are in Class C airspace. We know that. Let's take it up to that 7 meters that DJI likes you to give the drone a look at its home point. Not quite 7 meters, but that's good enough. Let's bring it back down, straight down, and we'll spin it around as we're coming down. And yeah, I just wanted to give you a look at the drone here on the camera. You can see where I parked here. Let's go straight up. Well, you know what? We need to do our droney, don't we? So, yeah, let's do a droney here. We can go right behind us. There's a hill behind us, but I think we'll be okay. So reverse and up now, reverse and up. And I hit pretty hard on that up stick, as you can see there. But you can see where I'm at here. We're up against the mountains, so. Let's bring it back forward, and we can bring it back down. And I'm going to get kind of in the shade here so I can see my FPV screen a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. Cool thing about, and we are in normal mode, I wanted to point that out. P mode, as it says on the screen now since that last update. But let's drop this drone down a little bit. We're about 20 meters above our takeoff point, and we're going to kind of go down the hill here. And I'm going to show you where this subdivision was at. We are kind of directly above it. In fact, we're directly above one of the houses. I see that's one of the houses. That house is abandoned. And it looks like they tore down all the rest of them. Our local news had some pretty dramatic footage of the houses, the other houses that were up here. And but there were houses all along this little ridge up into this cul-de-sac here, and we'll drop down as we get closer that way. But what happened is, and we'll see if we can get maybe get below the ridge too. I'll show you around here. I would have liked to have gone down there to the end of that road, but they've got it blocked off with no trespassing. So of course we're going to respect that. But this is it. This is an interesting story. These poor folks essentially lost their homes just because this hill started to slide, and it literally, one of the homes, and I'm not sure which one, was right in the middle of the slide. So you have to see right here, you can kind of see where all those homes were at, and they're all gone. And if I didn't say it before, this took place in 2016. So yeah, let's just kind of do a move around here so you can kind of take a look at it, look at the side of this hill. So the question is, you know, who is responsible in a situation like that? Is it the city that approved the subdivision? Is it the you know, the builder or the developer that developed? Let's move back a little bit here. Is it the developer? Well, is it the engineers that did the engineering study? I'm going to say probably all of the above. And the people, the tragedy of it was, the people that owned these homes, what they quickly found out, and this just seems like it's always the case, we always pay for homeowners insurance. I'm going to point the camera down here so you can see more of this ridge. So you can see, and you can see kind of some of where it slid there. Look at that. You can even see where it slid. And literally tore some of these houses in two. It's the darndest thing you've ever seen. But anyway, their homeowners insurance does not cover it. You always got to wonder, what does homeowners insurance cover? I always wonder. Doesn't cover floods. You have to buy flood insurance separately. Doesn't cover earthquakes. If we had an earthquake and your house came tumbling down, nah, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover it. I guess it covers, I guess about the only thing that, they should just call it fire insurance, because the only thing I think your homeowner's insurance covers is fire. So we can take a closer look at this house, and I don't quote me on this because I don't know for certain, but I know there was one of the homeowners that was kind of a holdout on the lawsuit and didn't settle, and I suspect it may be this one because this is the only home still standing, right? So that may be the case, but you know, you can tell these were pretty elaborate homes up here. These weren't, in fact, one of the guys that was on the news report, and I don't know I can't remember his name, but I watched on the news report, he was an attorney, and so he of course helped get everybody. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of signal interference, so we're going to get up higher. We're probably blocked a little bit by terrain, but I wanted to point out to you that, you know, these were pretty upscale houses. If you look at this swimming pool in the back and so forth, this home in all its glory, I'm sure, was really quite something. And you can even see where they tore out part of the street. Now that house, kind of in the center of the screen right now, is occupied, and well, in fact, we can kind of go over there and look. I kind of wanted to just even go down and park on this street and take off from there, but I can't, because they had a right about, yeah, I guess it's, yeah, right about here. I guess that's where I turned around at, and they had no trespassing signs and so forth. And you know what? Could I have parked along the street or something? You know what? I think where I saw the thing was just a little bit further up. So right at the end of this house right here, it's going to be hard to see, but right down there, they just have a little kind of a rope going across the road and no trespassing signs. So of course, I wasn't going to, you know, we're absolutely going to honor that. So I didn't, but I came up here above. This is a road that I'm on. It's called Table Rock Road. Found a place to pull over, and we can pull over and take a look. So let me pick the camera up. I saw the news crews. They were down here, right down in the midst of all this, but and I'm sure they must have got permission probably But I also understand that this whole area then was sold. Look at this. You can really see where it slid right there. Boy, look at that. Isn't that something? What a heartache for these poor people that had their homes up here. And, you know, you just would uproot your whole life, and you had to relocate and everything. But the bottom line is, ultimately, they got they settled a lawsuit with the city, but it's not quite what you'd think. And it was split between all the homeowners. They settled for $257,000. So I guess it's probably one of those things that there's a point that you just want to get it behind you, and I'm sure that's what happened, and that's what they did. So, you know, you get, like, again, you just got to feel sorry for these folks. Let's see. Oh, the name of the subdivision, I didn't get that in there. It was the Terra Nativa was the name of the subdivision. So that's about all the information I have on it. Again, our local news kind of revisited it the other day, so it kind of gave me the idea to come up here and fly and kind of give you a look. And they had a bunch of drone shots too, and they had a bunch of drone shots from when the houses were still up here as well. But boy, you can sure see where it slid there. You just have to believe some engineer, they just didn't do their job right. I mean, this is a hillside. I mean, it's not like it's unknown. There's a lot of houses built up here in the foothills. In fact, let's give you a look at the foothills here. And up there, well, let me point the camera up. That's what they call Table Rock up there, and there's a bunch of TV antenna and so forth, all kinds of stuff up there. I went up to the end of Table Rock Road there. There used to be parking up there, and I was going to do another flight from up there, but they have since restricted that. So you can't park up there, and they have no parking and no trespassing signs everywhere. So again, you're not going to do that. I believe it is public property at the top there. In fact, I know you can hike up there. I know there's hiking trails that you can hike up there to the very top. And I guess that's probably the only way to get up there now. Like I said, there used to be a parking lot, and it was common for people to park up there and look around. So this is Boise right here. We are looking at. We'll just point straight at downtown Boise. Right there. And let's see, I should be able to point it out, but the Idaho Penitentiary is down here someplace too. We're not going to fly out that far. It's the old, excuse me, I should have said the old Idaho Penitentiary. And I know there's some public facilities down there as well. Let me, I'm going to stop recording for a second. And I'm going to see if I can put it into 3x zoom. Let's switch to that other camera. There we go. So that, yeah, okay. Okay, started recording again. Yeah, so that's the old penitentiary right there. I wasn't sure if I was looking in the right spot or not. But that is now, it's a big museum is what it is. And then there's some garden spots down there too. I'm trying to remember what they call it, but I know there's big flower and garden shows and stuff that happen down there. Well, while we're in zoom, let's just kind of slowly look over the Boise Valley here and kind of move you around to downtown Boise. There's downtown Boise right there. And boy, the 3x zoom looks really good on this camera. Another parking spot down here that I'm sure would probably be another spot, another kind of fun spot to fly from. I'll have to take a look at that on the map. But let's go ahead and spin around. And you know, getting up here, you can see all these other houses up here. They're all built on the foothills, right? So again, this is all known. There's known conditions up here. What happened to this particular subdivision is, well, I don't know. It's a tragedy. So That's what you're going to say. I mean, I'm not an engineer, so I guess I can't say whether it was, you know, exactly somebody's fault or not, but it sure would appear that way. So while we're on 3x zoom here, maybe we can kind of get a little, without getting flying too close to it, get a look at this house. Let's kind of move in on it here, and it's all boarded up. I assume that this is probably the one homeowner that held out on the lawsuit. Hard to blame him, right? Hard to blame him. You wouldn't. You'd be pretty bummed out if it was your house, and you know, I don't know what that house cost, but his share of that $250,000 settlement certainly wouldn't have been enough, would it? I'm guessing that is probably, oh gosh, I bet that's a 4,000 square foot home, you know, with a garage and so forth, and with a swimming pool in the back. But anyway, okay, I'm going to stop recording again, and we're going to switch back to that 1x camera, and you can see how far away from it we are there. And yeah, let's. We've been recording now for. I've had the screen recorder going for about 15 minutes. Let's move it up the hill here a little bit, and I can kind of just show you some of the territory here, some of the foothills. Maybe we can take a look towards. Boy, lots of cars on their way up here, huh? You can see where I'm parked there. Let's take a look at the Boise Foothills. Let's see if we can get up here. And the drone is just about directly above us right now. And you can see lots of trails. I don't know if those probably are not maintained trails that we're looking at there, but the city maintains a full network of trails up here. And I should probably tell you be able to tell you what creek that is or something, but I can't because I don't know. But there you go. We can kind of take a look at that a little bit, and you can see those cars heading on up Table Rock Road, and there's just a turnaround up there. There are lots of signs that say no parking. I would have stopped there and walked the rest of the way up to Table Rock, but they had no trespassing and no parking signs, so yeah, don't want to mess with that. It must be private property at the end there. I thought Table Rock itself was on public property, but evidently not. I know it used to be open, and what happened was they had, you know, I don't know if I'm going to call them problems, but naturally what kids do, partying and so forth. And so they had to kind of shut it down because there was a lot of stuff going on up there. And anyway, so what we're looking at here, looking up the hill towards the Bogus Basin Ski Resort, and I see a lot of the snow is gone, so it's definitely warmed up. Well, let's turn around. Let's bring this guy back down the hill, and come bring it in for a landing. But we kind of just gave you a nice look at. In fact, let's. Geez, I forgot to start recording. Starting recording now. So yeah, let's bring it back in here. And in fact, let's do it. Let's do an automated return to home. And I kind of want to see how it handles this ridge here. So we're going to hit return to home.
Return to home.
Yeah, that's the thing that I hate about when you have to shut off recording to switch cameras. I always forget to start recording again. So you guys missed some of that. I apologize, but we're recording again now. Yeah, and it's just going right over the top of the ridge, so it's holding its altitude till we get down here. And it'll drop the camera straight down. There again, you get another look at that lone house that's still in that subdivision there. And let's see how this guy does for it. Man, it's dropping in altitude fast now. Let's see how it does for a precision landing. Okay, it's kicking that camera straight down. And it looks pretty close. My experience is it'll zoom right in at the end, but look at that, it is. It's zooming in. Yeah, it's gonna be right on the pad, isn't it? Yeah, perfect. It's gonna come down right on the pad. Excellent. And yeah, you got a good shot of that on the Action 4 camera. It's got a couple legs off the pad. Okay, let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, the DJI Air 3, perfect drone for this kind of shot. Again, we're in controlled airspace here. This is within the Class C airspace of the Boise Airport. Got Lance approval to fly, 400 feet approval. And again, what I thought was interesting is that DJI did not require any kind of an unlock. So that was interesting, but anyway, worked out fine, right? We got to fly. Showed you that subdivision that started sliding off. I don't know, is there something that they could do there in the future to rebuild houses there or not? I know somebody bought the land, so who knows. The other thing is you got to kind of get a look of what we call the Treasure Valley, overlooking the city of Boise here. Kind of a cool spot to do that. And again, the Air 3, perfect drone with that 3x zoom. We got to zoom in on the old Idaho Penitentiary down there and so forth. But in any case, the Air 3, you know, this has been out for, I don't know, a year or a little over a year maybe, I don't know. But my understanding is there's a new version that we might see pretty soon. So that's what all the rumors are anyway. It was just a good time to fly this drone. I guess that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And of course, we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.